When you think of the French language, what comes to mind? Love? Romance? Fine food and fine wine? Well, if you're me going through the Canadian public education system, then the answer to this question is man-made horrors beyond comprehension. You see, dear viewers, here in Canada, we are an officially bilingual country. This does not mean that every single person is bilingual, of course, but rather that before the government, French and English have equal status. If you walk into any government office or look at any consumer product on the shelves, you will find both English and French.
Oh, English side ruined! Must use French instructions! Le grill! What the hell is that?
That's not to say that the government hasn't tried to encourage individual bilingualism, however. And at least where I live, this starts in elementary school, where there are two separate streams through which children can learn French. The first is French immersion, where children's education is conducted entirely in French. The second stream is what was called Core French, where a certain amount of hours were set aside each week for French language instruction, and that is what I went through, or suffered through, as I should say. As a child, the French language was strange and unfamiliar. It wasn't spoken at home. No one in my area spoke French. The only non-English speakers in my family tree spoke Swedish and not French. And the language itself often sounded weird and unpleasant to my child ears. There were lots of sounds that sounded to me like expressions of disgust or discomfort. There were lots of ears, lots of uhs, lots of uhs. There were just too many vowels going on a rampage without any consonants to contain them. Hey, France, what happened to all your consonants anyway? Did Poland steal them all? Now I know that as a native English speaker, I have no room to complain about wacky spelling, but when looking at French words, I could just never get a grasp on when I was supposed to stop saying them because there were all these unnecessary letters at the end. Like, the word for leaf is feuille. The word for happy is heureux. No, that's not right. It's heureux. In France, you're not a man, you're un homme. And I'm thinking to myself, wait. Homme? Then why do you need that H and that extra M and the E on the end? Why not just spell it O-M? I mean, that's what they do in Romanian. Yeah, France, why can't you be like based Romania over here? And don't even get me started on the wacky grammar. I mean, when learning a language, one of the most basic questions you can ask is, what is that? And it's usually just 2 or 3 words, like in German it would be was ist das? But no, in French it's qu'est-ce que c'est? Literally, what is this that this is? Come on, France, you're losing your heads. That's why you lost this country to the British. And don't even get me started on counting. That's an eldritch horror beyond your imagination. And then there was our teacher. You know how a good teacher can stoke an interest in something you had no interest in before? Well, that was not our teacher. Our teacher was, in fact, a cantankerous, miserable old crone who hated us and whom we hated in return. I've forgotten most of the French vocabulary I learned in elementary school, but one word will forever be burned into my brain. Fâché. Because our teacher was very often fâché. And then there were the verbs. Oh boy, did we learn verb conjugations, which made about as little sense as anything else in French. Like how, if you want to form the third person plural, you put an ENT at the end of the word, but you don't say it? Well, and then there were also the activities we were subjected to. I don't really have a very good memory of them, but I do remember certain phrases like Activité 1. Listen and repeat. Bonjour, je m'appelle Ashley. Comment ça va? Ça va bien. And then there was Piroli. Now, I'm sure 99.9% of you have no idea what I'm talking about, but This fucking puppet. They used it to teach us French and sing songs and... Peroli li te peux jouer avec moi. I swear to God, this thing, this hideous creature, it still haunts my nightmares. All right. I know the French language isn't real. It can't hurt me. In the 8th grade, my final year of elementary school, I told myself, all right, just one more year of French. I can get through this. I can deal with it. And then something happened. Our teacher addressed the class and said, look, you obviously don't want to learn French. You obviously have no motivation to learn French. So we're not going to teach it to you. And I was thinking, wait, can you do that? Is that allowed? Maybe the fact that she was our vice principal had something to do with it. But what's really sad about core French is just how little I learned during the 4 years or so we were subjected to it. I mean, I learned how to tell what a cat and a dog is, and how to tell what the seasons are, and how to say hello and goodbye, but I had no ability to carry on even the most basic conversations in French. I couldn't say, where is the restroom, or even order a coffee, or anything like that. It was just time wasted. My only memories of French in grade school consist largely of conjugating verbs and getting yelled at. It's plui, not ploi. Do you think we are speaking Romanian here because we are not speaking Romanian and you are not Romanian? Okay, that may have been a slight exaggeration, but still. When I went to high school, we had to choose a foreign language to learn, and our choices were French or German. So, which did I choose? Well, of course I'm going to take German. You think I want to take more French? It certainly helped that our teacher, instead of being a mean old witch, was a sweet old Austrian woman who gave us candy. I only took 1 year of German in high school, but when I got to university, I decided to give it another go. And I was surprised at just how much more I learned in that first year of German than I did in 4 years of core French. There was even an event called Das Sprachwochenende, where you'd spend the weekend at a monastery, and the rule was, you can talk about whatever you want, but it has to be in German. And the German language just made sense. The language was pronounced exactly as it was written. There was no stream of silent letters messing up the page. Of course, adjective endings were kind of annoying, and reading German newspapers was kind of a pain because they'd use these long run-on sentences filled with parenthetical clauses, and then there'd be a little verb stuck away at the end somewhere. But I really enjoyed learning German, and I do think children should learn foreign languages. This might sound condescending, but if you reach adulthood and you don't know at least something of a second language, then that's kind of embarrassing. And there are, of course, cognitive benefits to learning a second language, not to mention career benefits. But if you're going to teach children French or some language, I really hope that it's being done better than it was for me, because by God, did core French make me hate French. Which I'm pretty sure was the exact opposite of what the government intended when they introduced this whole mandatory French thing. I stumbled across this curriculum guide from 1994 regarding the core French program, and reading what the program's stated goals was and thinking about the actual results is, well, let me just read from it, because it says that one of the goals is it will enable students to develop a positive attitude towards the French language and Francophone peoples throughout the world, and more particularly throughout Canada. And when I read this, I just had to laugh. I just went, no, that did not happen. That absolutely did not happen. And I can't help but laugh at some of these other program goals, like students are enthusiastic about learning French. No. there is a supportive classroom atmosphere. Definitely not. Students desire to know more about the Francophone way of life. Get fucked. Students experience success in day-to-day activities. Definitely not. Students are involved in language use. Yeah, if you mean by repeating the same thing year after year and learning and getting absolutely no conversational competence, then yes. Students derive satisfaction from achievement, and am I just a joke to you? And students express the idea that it would be good to know another language and the people who speak it, and the answer is yes, but no thanks to you. But they do acknowledge that because of the limited time factor, native-like fluency and bilingualism are not realistic objectives of the core French program. However, such a program will give students access to the thought and literature of French-speaking people and enable them to recognize the influence and contribution of French language and culture to the Canadian and world civilization and to the arts. And I'm just thinking, mate, after 4 years, I couldn't even read The Very Hungry Caterpillar in French. Anyway, that was my experience learning French in the 90s. It sucked, and I really hope things are better for children today.